So we have to work ethically. And we work ethically with you to make sure that we as professionals act in your best interest at all times. And it's that demonstration of reciprocity that allows us to develop that long-term trusted relationship. Hello, this is Neil Gendreau once again from The Money Doctor. Today, our podcast, we're going to discuss what makes an ideal client for financial planning. First off, you might be asking, well, what exactly is financial planning? I've heard so much about it, but I've got my suspicions, and how does it help? Well, lucky for you, I actually wrote a brochure on that very subject. Go figure. And this is available to you free of charge. You can just contact me to let me know if you'd like a copy. I could send it electronically, or I can send it to you physically if you prefer to have a copy on hand. But either way, it's a very useful tool. It's something that you should consider your financial planning Bible. Really, what financial planning really is, it's a personalized system for long-range planning that builds and helps to maintain wealth. It's a personalized assessment, and it involves a service with ongoing support. Now, what exactly does it cover? Well, I'm sure you're concerned about your financial future, or you probably wouldn't be listening to this in the first place. This is an area of interest for you, as it is for many people who are wondering, for instance, what's the best way to manage college expenses? Maybe some people might be interested in buying a vacation home. Almost everyone that I know is, if they're not retired yet, they're looking to plan for a successful retirement. And eventually, other people are also interested in preserving what they've built up with their estate, not only for themselves, but also for their families. So estate preservation becomes an important factor. As well as always, regardless of what your situation is in life, everyone wants to minimize income taxes. But this is a very large list of demands for many people, and it gets confounding because the question is how can I most successfully accomplish these objectives that I have? Well, that's the essence of financial planning. It takes where you are and helps you to build a map to where you want to be, one step at a time. It's a matter of prioritizing goals and making assessments and projections to be able to allocate resources that are necessary to accomplish them successfully. And you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to arrive on the most efficient path. So obviously, you don't want to squander or waste resources inefficiently. So through a combination of looking at various strategies, we can give you a more holistic and fully integrated outlook that might provide a better overall solution for you. So this is a long-range process. This isn't something that just happens overnight or through one engagement. My clients who are financial planning clients, which are all my clients, are lifelong clients because their financial situations are always changing with their personal life. Their financial situation will change at one time or another, whether it be job changes, employment status, or new children, or what have you. And they need to make adjustments to accommodate for those issues that arrive. So regular reviews are important. It's an ongoing process. And what we do with the original plan is we put you on target for getting you going. But as your life evolves, we make adjustments and changes strategically to be able to accommodate those different situations. So obviously, it's a complex process, and it helps you to navigate these complexities while eliminating confusion by giving you specific recommendations along the way with ongoing advice. That's what financial planning does. If you can appreciate that, it's a more organized approach, it's a more disciplined approach, it's a more hands-on approach, but you're not doing it alone. The biggest difference is that you're doing it with someone who has literally decades of experience in this field. Likewise, you might want to consider someone like myself your financial planning doctor. So this is the whole point. You go to doctors for regular visits and checkups if you encounter health problems. You visit your primary practitioner, and he also has a team of other skilled professionals that he might refer you to for specific problems or situations. But overall, you got a team of people working with you, in this case, for your overall financial well-being. That has to happen with some discipline and organization. You don't want to just allow things to happen to you and adjust on the fly. You want to be able to be proactive enough so that you can plan for some of these inevitabilities in advance and be able to make continuous progress along the way. It helps you to actually learn about your situation. It allows you to be able to be more comfortable with where you're at and where you're going versus being like dust in the wind and being blown around randomly by the twist of fate. That's probably the last place that anyone wants to be financially. So how do you know if you might be a good client to work with for financial planning? The truth is that likewise, I'm very selective. I can't just work with everyone. I have to be able to work with a client who's willing and cooperative to be able to engage in this process and to be able to have patience with it, to be able to see the results accrue over a period of time. It doesn't happen overnight. There are no immediate fixes. In fact, there are ongoing challenges that we'll have to address along the way by working together. And I handle these situations, these complexities, with clients like hopefully you, who are looking to achieve financial success. They wish to avoid unnecessary mistakes and confusion. But for that to happen, these clients, people like you have to be open to advice. And this is, I think, a roadblock for many people, at least instinctively and intuitively, because there's a lot of hesitation involved with, what, do I need a financial advisor? Who do I contact? What should I be looking for in terms of their credentials, their abilities, their expertise? How can I trust them? How do I know that they're going to handle my situation with the diligence and care that I would expect? Well, these are all fair assumptions, but you have to come from the other side and be willing to extend yourself honestly so that we can work together as a team to be able to help you to accomplish your goals. And that's how trust is built. So here are the roadblocks I would find to say that if you have strong inclinations to any of these following roadblocks, I would probably say, well, for better or worse, maybe you wouldn't be a good client. You might actually benefit through financial planning. You might do your own financial planning as you see it. But if you don't want help, I can't give it to you, right? I mean, does that make sense? If you're a do-it-yourself, or if you're one of these people who insist on doing everything yourself because you're the only person that you can trust, if you might actually enjoy doing it, that's fine. But do you have the same expertise and knowledge? Do you know what you don't know? Maybe not, but that's your prerogative and that's your decision. But if you feel that way, honestly, we probably won't work well together. That should be self-explanatory. The other issues, obviously, I don't work for free. If you're hesitant to pay fees for management advice or quality of service, we won't work well together. So people are looking for cheap ways to get all the answers they want at the drop of the hat. You get what you pay for. And you can go to places like maybe Fidelity or Schwab and get some limited advice that they might offer. But like I said, you get what you pay for. You're not getting a comprehensive, long-range and long-term overlooking guidance that might be a lot more helpful for you than just trying to solve problems on the fly. And so the thing is, I need to be compensated for that type of work. We'll get into the mode of how compensation works later. But the point is, if you're looking for advice on the cheap, I don't work that way. Sorry. I mean, my rates are competitive with the market. And I try to present myself as fairly as possible by disclosing those. But if you're going to scrimp on fees, I'm not going to work with you. I charge for my advice, and I charge accordingly based upon the quality and value of my services that other people who have worked with me for years and decades even have come accustomed to receiving. And they're very happy with it, and they're very happy to pay those fees. These are the people I'm looking to work with, to be fair. So you have to be open to advice. You have to be willing to pay for management fees and service. and also the quality of service that you receive. That's my distinction. But I also need your trust in the sense of financial disclosure. So when I'm trying to work with you to help uncover your financial situation and to be able to look towards your financial future and make plans and make projections and recommendations and whatnot, that doesn't happen in a vacuum. I need data for that. Obviously, I need to understand you. I need to understand your goals, but I also need full disclosure as to your financial situation, including disclosure of account statements, pay stubs, company benefits, tax returns, etc. I realize that all this is very highly sensitive information. And in our industry, we're obliged to keep all that information confidential. So it's not like I'm going to share it with other people or sell it, but I need to have it in order to provide the best service I can to you. So if you're hesitant about providing your personal financial information or identification and things of that matter, we're not going to work together at all. I just need the information and data. So, what we're doing through this process is we're building a long-term trusted relationship. And if you're skeptical of that, if you think all financial people are corrupted sales agents, I'm just saying that's a very typical thought among the public. And I'm trying to dispel that myth. There are people out there, many people out there like myself, who provide very competent and personalized advice for you that's well-meaning and well-intended. And if we did not work in your best interest, obviously, we would not have successful practices. In fact, we wouldn't have successful practices at all. Does that make sense? I mean, how much money or how long do you think anyone, myself, can be in this industry if we're trying to rip people off? Obviously, it's incompatible. So we have to work ethically. And we work ethically with you to make sure that we as professionals act in your best interest at all times. And it's that demonstration of reciprocity that allows us to develop that long-term trusted relationship. So if you don't trust that, if you don't think it can happen, or if you're at the least bit skeptical of my credibility or anyone's credibility, then you know what? We probably shouldn't work together. So in other words, you have to be willing to see the value in this process long-term, and that I have a list of successful clients whom I've worked with for years and decades who have benefited tremendously from my service. But if you can't see that, I'm not going to try to convince you. I can't sit there and say, yeah, I'm a good person. Trust me. That's probably the person that you shouldn't trust, right? But if that isn't inherently obvious to you, through the process, through the necessity of working with someone like you successfully, if you don't see that parallel, that correlation, we're not going to work well together. So you have to recognize all these things and look at them objectively as well as responsibly to be able to assess for yourself whether or not this is worth it for you. That's the whole point. Is it worth it for you? I can demonstrate the value. I can explain it to you. I can explain the process to you as I'm doing here. But if you're not willing to accept that, then I can't change your mind. I'm not going to be here to try to change your mind. I get better things to do. So I'm telling you this because there might be some of you who might be somewhat skeptical. You might want to consider this, but you're not sure, and you're on the fence. There are a lot of people out there like that. Most of my clients have come to me over the years through referral. But I understand that the public at large is not necessarily as fortunate to have someone who has worked with an advisor for many years like this. And so also the discussion of financial matters between friends and in an offhand manner discussing, I work with Neil Gendreau as a financial advisor, and he's done great by my family. We've been working with him for 20, 25 years. We've built a very successful portfolio. We put our kids through school. We're looking to retire next year, and based on our work together, Neil feels we're in really good shape to accomplish that. He's really helped to make us a lot of money. This type of conversation doesn't happen every day. But clients do come to me referred, but not all the time because it's not a common event. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a public awareness campaign to reach as many people like yourself as I can, whether it be through referral or not, to be able to help demonstrate to everyone what financial planning can do for them. Okay? So that's why I'm doing this podcast. It's definitely in the interest of expanding my practice, but I'm also looking to provide the same opportunity to others. And for those who are interested, for those who pay attention, these podcasts will provide additional insight and give you a better idea of what to expect. It's that simple. And if you're better prepared of what to expect, you can determine whether you feel it's right for you and decide whether or not you want to contact me. And, that's the whole process. If you would like to contact me for more information, you might have questions, I'm more than happy to arrange an introductory meeting with you. You can come to my office if you're here locally, or we can also do a Zoom conference, regardless of where you might be, or to save you time. No skin off my back. I'm more than happy to work with you in any way that facilitates your progress. But during that first meeting, there's no fees or no obligation. I'm just taking a chance that you extended your courtesy to me. You've given me an outreach to be able to say, hey, Neil, I got some questions. I'd like to discuss this with you. What's the best way that we can meet? And let's set up a time for a meeting. Great, let's do that. During that meeting, we can discuss your concerns, what you're looking for in a financial advisor. And this is my job, my opportunity to better understand your personal situation. It's not just all about the bucks. It's about you, your life, your lifestyle, and most importantly, what your expectations are of working with a financial advisor. What are you looking for? Can I provide it to you? How would I provide it to you? What are the steps? All of these subjects, this discussion that we have during our first meeting, this disclosure, this honest candor, helps us to determine if we're a mutually good fit. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. But, people are typically most interested. Well, Neil, you mentioned you charge fees, obviously. How are you paid? Well, the first step in us possibly working together is, like I said, the most important thing is not to give advice in a vacuum. I want to have a holistic and clear picture of your specific financial goals, needs, and concerns. So, as I mentioned before, what we do first and foremost is a comprehensive financial plan. And I charge a fee for that comprehensive financial plan. It's a fixed fee. It's an introduction. And what it does, it allows me to have the opportunity to analyze your situation, propose various alternatives, solutions, and to make specific recommendations as I see that would best lead you toward your goals. That plan is a flat fee. It's dependent upon the complexity of what we discuss and what subject matter is involved and how deep it is technically. But typically, the average financial plan ranges from $1,000 to $2,000. That's a pretty good bell-shaped curve of the range of fees that most people might be inclined to pay based on what they're looking for. So what I do is I analyze all these different aspects, and I analyze all your goals, and I seek to best understand your personal circumstances and financial situation the best that I can. And based upon those dynamics, I make specific recommendations. And those recommendations will involve everything from investment planning, tax planning, retirement planning, planning for various expenses such as college, vacation home, etc., as well as estate management if you've built a substantial estate, how to protect that. And we might work in conjunction with an elder law or even your own attorney to help implement these different items. The implementation of your financial plan is paramount. Because if I give you a financial plan with specific recommendations and you don't execute it, right? What good is the plan? You paid, $1,000, $2,000 for essentially nothing. If you don't do anything about it, it's not going to help you. But that's your starting point, right? So by and large, the implementation of your financial plan and the ongoing support of your financial plan is going to help determine your long-term success. And this is why it's important for us to stay in touch. And I can help you implement many aspects of your financial plan, especially related to various investment and tax management strategies in particular. And so in that sense, I'm also able to manage investment assets on your behalf that might be available for the purpose of meeting your financial goals. So the other way that I'm paid, and this is actually in terms of the percent of my revenue, the most significant source of my income, is based on fees derived from assets directly under my management. So in other words, if there's an opportunity where I could provide investment advice and help you to manage an account outside of, let's say, a company retirement plan, or you might have other assets outside of retirement plans that you're looking to specifically allocate for your future, but you don't know what's the best way to do it. The combination of these different opportunities allow me to manage accounts for you. And so my fee on those accounts are scaled based upon the total assets that I'm managing for your household. So the typical average annual fee is 1% of the assets. That's a flat fee. It's derived quarterly, so there are quarterly deductions from each of your accounts under my management to cover that fee. So 1% would be a typical average, but based upon the volume of assets I'm managing for you, there's also a scale where that fee typically has different breakpoints so that at certain levels of assets under management, as those assets grow, the additional values are actually charged a smaller fee incrementally. So it might start at 1.15% or 1% over the next 500,000, or maybe 0.9% over the next million, etc. I'd be able to disclose that for you. But the more that your investments grow and the more that I manage, the lower the average fee is. Now, here's the kicker. What's really great that most people find very commendable on that arrangement is obviously I have a shared interest in your financial success. The more that your money grows, the more that I'm paid. I mean, dollar-wise. I mean, does that make sense? What's even better is that this fee for assets under management, it's fully inclusive. So once you did that original plan, you implemented my recommendations up to and including some investment advice, that fee becomes fully inclusive to cover all other services in the future that might cover future meetings, phone calls, random questions that pop up here and there, one way or the other, and future revisions to your financial plan as your situation changes. So instead of charging you another $1,000, $2,000, I'm doing the next financial plan for you for free based upon the total service I'm providing for you with the assets under management fee model, okay? So it's highly inclusive. It becomes less expensive per unit of service that I'm providing for you. And it creates a win-win situation where your financial success is my financial success. So I thought in developing a practice, not only is this a typical arrangement, but it's also a mutually beneficial one where both parties benefit by it. I subscribe entirely to that process. And I think that provides a very fair way of not only compensation, but working on your behalf to make sure that your best interests are met. Now, on the other side of the fence, from your perspective, I mean, I do a lot of work to make sure I qualify my clients, that they would make good clients for me to work with. You likewise, as a customer, should exercise very high standards when considering to select a financial advisor. Your financial advisor, regardless of who he or she is, should be an accredited fiduciary, which might fall under a number of different umbrellas. That person should be either a registered investment advisor or an investment advisor representative. These are designations I'm going to go into in a future podcast in terms of the different terminologies and protections that you have under the best interest rules as a financial planning customer, but some obvious designations that work to the advantage of your financial plan would also be someone like myself having a CFP or Certified Financial Planning designation and or a CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst designation, which is more specifically oriented towards investment strategies and management and modeling. So, I'm definitely an IAR, an investment advisor representative, and I'm a CFP. So under both of those certifications, that requires me to operate under the best interest standard as defined by both FINRA and the Board of Certified Financial Planners, just to let you know. I've been in this business for 32 years. So I'm simply trying to share wisdom with clients like you who are looking for the help, who are looking for the advice, but don't know exactly where to find it or how to go about it. And obviously, that requires us to share a very high level of trust, confidence, and integrity in each other. I can demonstrate that in part by my 32 years of experience in the field, very successful practice, and I'm very happy with, but I'm always looking to do better. I'm sure everyone is. So are you. That's why we're here. We're talking about money. We're talking about doing better for yourself financially, or just doing better for yourself from a career and success standpoint. They all tie together. I want to help you to work through that, okay? With the same values that you have and that you should have with trusting someone to deal with your money, okay? So, likewise, as I already mentioned, I exercise the same high standards when I vet potential clients based on the criteria that I already mentioned. And to be fair, there will only be a few people who pass through both filters, both my filters and your filters. But if those two circles overlap in that Venn diagram, that mutual interest or mutual value that we have in working together, that helps to define our success. I would ask for no less than that. Hopefully you feel the same way. So, as noted, my contact information appears below, and perhaps we might have the opportunity to meet. If we do, if so, I look forward to your interest. Thank you for your attentiveness while watching this podcast. I hope it was useful information for you, and I hope to speak with you shortly to introduce yourselves, or to introduce ourselves, as the case may be. So, have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon with the next podcast. Take care. Neil Gendreau and these videos are not intended to provide specific investment or financial advice. Please contact your own financial advisor if you have one, or if you don't, why not contact Neil?